Hey everyone, this is the second part to the Tomb of Horrors video that I did the other day. If you haven't watched that yet, I basically break down the dungeon and why it fails to be fun. This video is how I would fix the dungeon and make it actually playable, without just playing Tomb of Annihilation, which is a far better adventure in the spirit of Tomb of Horrors. But before we get into the main part of the video, let's talk about our sponsor, World Anvil. Do you want an in-browser organization tool that helps you write out your cities, dungeons, history, and everything else? World Anvil is for you then. Make maps easy to read and remember for your players. Make articles for lore or all those info dumps. These actually look prettier than a document. Invite your players to join your campaigns and share notes together. Make family trees. Design diseases. Keep track of items. Make magic. Create a homebrew. Make a whole continent. Make food. Design ocean monsters. I don't know. Whatever's in your brain can be made in World Anvil. We use it all the time in our games, and I gotta say, it's helped me remember where the hell that MacGuffin is. Also, through the month of July, World Anvil will be hosting an event called the World Anvil Summer Camp, where you can enter writing submissions with prompts. There's lots of prizes and streams that'll be going on, so make sure to check that out. Get started today with my code XP to level 3 for 20% off your subscription. There's a link down below. Alright, so what we're gonna do in this dungeon is keep it a puzzling death trap, but less deadly. The main theme behind the original is that it's annoying, and that you could kind of beat it at any level. It will come down to being crafty and intelligent to beat this dungeon. Do I think you should make dungeons like this? No. Puzzles are a tricky subject in D&D. Some players like them, some don't. A lot of people think it comes down to the intelligence of the player rather than the character, and it can be kind of annoying, but we're gonna kind of keep it in the same style of the original Tomb of Horrors, because if I were to change it any more than what it was, then it's not really the Tomb of Horrors anymore, is it? If you want to challenge your players to beat this mind twister labyrinth without killing them for experimenting, all while keeping it in the light fun of D&D, here's how I would do it. Also, if you want the PDF, I'll put it up on my Patreon for free. Instead of a Sarek wanting to kill whoever enters his tomb, he's sort of made it kind of like a cruel game that adventurers must be to be worthy of his treasure, which is why it's built the way it's built. A Sarek kind of wants you to nearly succeed and then die trying. However, the valor of our heroes will prove that they can beat the Demilich at his own game. There's one entrance, DC 15 investigation to find it. If you spend an hour looking, you find it. We don't need to hide it that much. The first hallway has the red trail, and the traps on the inside are on the green sides of the red walkway. If you walk along the red walkway, it leads you to the Archway, which is the same puzzle as before, except instead of teleporting you into the lever's room, you are teleported into the entrance of the hallway, and you take 1 bludgeoning damage as you fall on your ass, enough to be annoying and piss them off, but allow them to keep experimenting with it, thinking that it doesn't only go to one room. Along the red walkway is the poem still, and now it reads like this. A Sarek welcomes you to the Tomb of Horrors. Welcome. He's certain you will die like all the others trying to steal his precious treasure, so here's a clue to lead you to a quick death. Any of these options will do. Stray your path from the Arch of Mist. The green tiles shall do. In a hallway of colors, detect none. A door is your way through. If shades of red stand for blood, then give false answers to my thrall. A chapel of death brings fortune upon an altar, so stay away from the wall. Let time reach 0 to find your end and fall back to the beginning. Ignore my minions from times ago and float yourself to the ceiling. Stab the door and look upon a room that has nothing more to the viewer's eye. You've left my tomb to never return, and now your souls will die. The point behind this poem is that the characters should take it in reverse. If they do the opposite of what the poem tells them, it will help them out in a certain way. But it also warns them of all the dangers, so now that they know where the supposed danger is, they can kind of move backwards away from it. That way they don't just walk into doors and die instantly. The Archway, after solving the color puzzle, will teleport any character into the hallway of orbs. This room is the same as before, except we can remove this gargoyle part. The fake doors are still there, just to, make it annoying. All the orbs glow with magical colors to entice a player to cast Detect Magic, or to maybe go up and touch them. The Detect Magic will reveal illusion, and it will reveal the illusory crawl spaces. Also, touching the orbs will reveal the illusory crawl spaces to the other rooms. The room with the chests instead just has a skeletal goblin on the inside. His name is Bick Bonk and was a servant of a Sarek in life. He's now bound to this room to speak riddles to the characters, but he's really tired of his job. He's happy to join them and offer insight on the tomb if they convince him to. He is, however, excited at the idea of meeting new people and constantly speaks riddles at them. You can look up some sample riddles to tell to your players just to be annoying and cheeky. If they answer 3 correctly, he gives them a ring of protection. If they answer 3 incorrectly, a swarm of snakes eject from his ribcage and attack the players. Big Bonk's favorite food in life was snakes, and he fears they didn't die when he ate them. The chapel operates the same as before, except the pews only have a single gold piece in them and do not emit poison. Instead, if a gold piece is picked up, the altar glows, and will glow brighter if brought to the altar or near the archway and to the wall with the slot. If they enter the archway, they are teleported back to the other archway, and a random demon ichor effect happens to the character. Enough to be annoying, but not to completely reverse and destroy the character that the person had created to play in this dungeon. If they put the coin on the altar, it glows, and the spirits of all those who have died in the tomb come to attack. Depending on your party levels, you can go with wraiths, ghosts, or specters. Removing the coin doesn't make them go away, however. If the coin is put into the slot on the wall opens to a stairway with an oak door at the bottom. The oak door has the same sounds as before, laughing and cheering beyond it, but when opened, the laughing turns into screams, just like before. Inside the room is an empty lit room with a clock above the door and a button in the middle. This is a time trap that Z-Bashu made a video on, and I'm stealing it. Basically, the clock counts down from 10 and flashes colors, and pushing the button resets it. If the players bring it to 1, the door opens and nothing happens. I think this puzzle is perfect for the Tomb of Horrors because it's stupid, it's annoying, and you think that this place is going to kill you, but really it's just a practical joke. That's how I kind of see the Tomb of Horrors, is kind of like a practical joke to play on your players. But let's make it a practical joke to their characters because we're all playing a game. The poem does say against this. It does say, let time reach 0 to find your end. The kind of convoluted part I think would be fun is that let time reach 0 to find your end is that the opposite is you won't find your end. You'll just let time reach 0. So that's kind of the stupid riddle behind that one. But also, if there were enough clues to let the time reach 0, the players would just do it, and it's kind of fun to watch them scramble over a button that won't kill them. The next room is the false treasure room, with Totally Not a Sararak lounging on the couch. He simply says to the players,
"Congratulations, you may have passed all the trials. You freed my soul, and now I can rest in peace. Go now."
And a trapdoor will open underneath the players. With a failed DC 15 dex save, they'll fall into the mist and land at the beginning of the dungeon. No, they're not losing their equipment, they're just at the beginning of the dungeon. This is enough to be really annoying and frustrating, but not to the players. See, you can kind of just describe them walking back through the dungeon, making their way all the way back into this room, where it will inevitably happen again if they fail that DC 15 dex save. So, yes, a little annoying, but not enough to be severely devastating. If they return, he continues opening trapdoors underneath the party to teleport them back to the beginning. However, if a party member is able to jump over 3 of the trapdoors, basically succeed 15 dex saves, and make it to Totally Not a Sararak, he laughs and disappears and says,
"You almost had me there, but you are far from over."
The room then fills with spiders, 4 swarms of them to be exact, just to be creepy. This is the Tomb of Horrors after all. A door will appear in the back of the room after the spiders are dead and leads to a hallway with a spike trap. I kind of like this trap because it's simple and makes the players think a little critically about how to get over it. At the end of the hallway is 3 doors, the east door having 2 keyholes in it. If anything except the first and second key are put into this door, the player takes 1d6 lightning damage. The north door leads to a room with a gelatinous cube in it. The cube has 1/2 of the first key in it. The south door leads to a room with a zombie who has the other half. The zombie has some sentience, however, and is a friendly guy named Gary. He's unsure why he's been trapped in this room with 1/2 of a key in it, and willingly gives it to the party and asks if he can join them. He knows Big Bonk, and the two share a secret handshake and are confused on the creation of this dungeon, questioning its purpose and giving better ideas on how the Demi-Lich could have hid his treasure. Once the 2 keys are put together, a swirling dark energy forms around them, and a Sararak soul is reformed! Oh my god! But nothing happens yet. If the key is put into the door, the walls grumble, and the north and south doors now lead to different rooms. One room has a gray ooze with the other half of the second key in it, and the other room has a human corpse with the other half of the second key. This dead human tricked Sararak into being an undead wizard who would serve him. He was actually a guy named Bill who wasn't undead or a wizard and just wanted to try to backstab a Sararak when he rose to power. A Sararak became a Demi-Lich and assigned Bill to kill adventurers who tried to take the key away from him. He died 200 years ago from dehydration. The second key, when put together, will open the door and reveal the throne room. The throne room is the same, except the doors in the back are removed along with the demon mouth portals, along with the red explodey wish gem. We don't need those. And the ceiling has spikes on them. In the center of the room is an undead king. He has the rod in his hand and the crown around his head. He is unkillable, and his only actions are to thrust characters into the columns so that they float to the ceiling and are spiked by the spikies. The Skeleton King can only be killed if he himself makes contact with the spikes on the ceiling. If any of the characters hit the spikes on the ceiling, they take 2d4 piercing damage. It can be less if you want it to be. Let them be creative with this encounter, as they can try to dismember the Skeleton King. They can just splay his pieces all over the place. They don't even have to fight him. They could just leave him alone and take his rod and put it in the chair and leave. This is just supposed to be a fun, creative moment for your players where they can kind of do whatever they want and make this dungeon theirs. This is their story after all. The stairway operates exactly the same, except there is no key on the steps because we already have the key. The other false treasure room is also the same, except this room is barren and empty, save for a misty archway at the back of the room. There's a sign in the middle of the room that reads, "Apologies to anyone who reads this, we got the treasure first." If the players walk towards the archway, the 3 stones on the bottom left, the bottom right, and the keystone glow red, green, blue. They are teleported back to the first archway, and if they push red, green, blue on this archway, they are teleported back into the false treasure room, but instead, all of the treasure is laid out on the floor, glimmering. It's a simple puzzle that can be easily solved because they've done it before, and if they remember, then they can be smart and try to get the treasure. You can be logical and beat this dungeon too. If any of the treasure is touched, a Serac begins to rise in his demi-lich form over the course of 3 rounds. The players can either grab any of the treasure while he forms and run, or they can kill him. Completely up to them. And that's my version of the Tomb of Horrors. It's a lot more free and open to whatever the players want to do and how they want to figure it out, while still being challenging and annoying to allow the players to still beat it and being frustrated by the whole damn thing, but not enough to continuously kill them over and over again so that they just don't want to play Dungeons & Dragons anymore. Anyways, this video was a lot, and I'm done with this stupid dungeon. Thanks for watching me rant about this thing, and maybe you have a different perspective on it now. Time to say goodbye to old Dusty Serac and his dumb tomb.